I'm able to like look at the situation and reframe it and say, you know what, it feels like there's no purpose in this frustration that's being caused by this situation, but I'm actually through this situation that's causing me all these difficult emotions is actually teaching me a lot. And there's purpose to this. And realizing that there's purpose in my struggle gives me more motivation to push through because it's not for nothing. There's purpose in my pain.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Journey Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Abigail.
I'm Dillon.
And today we're going to be talking about burnout.
Your life, your journey starts now.
Okay. What does it feel like to be burnt out?
Okay, I'll give you mine, and then I want to hear yours too, because I actually think that burnout like is different for everybody, or it can be. It's not always like the same. For me, when I feel burnout, I think it's one, I feel less motivated to do the things I need to do. I feel less passionate about the things I'm normally passionate about. I feel like I want to scroll on my phone a lot more or watch more of TV shows and not read as much. Maybe not take care of myself as much. I think it comes from a place of like pushing myself so hard that I just become like I'm pushing myself past my capacity, and it's like my battery is lower than what I'm putting out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like my energy level is depleted to the point where I'm like, I don't have much else to give. And my anxiety level usually is like way higher. Sometimes my burnout comes from higher anxiety levels, which would make sense because then like my battery power is essentially being spent more on my anxiety. And so then that lowers my motivation levels and passion levels on other levels too.
Yeah, I'd say that's relatively similar to mine. I would say
I don't sleep as good either.
I sleep more.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
See, it impacts different people different ways. I sleep less, you sleep more. Okay.
But like
That's it.
the sleep is never like fulfilling because I get so excited about certain things, and like I could sleep for like 7 hours and then be up and just do absolutely everything. But like, I mean, that's when I'm most like passionate about things. But like when I get burnt out, like I could sleep for like 12 hours and then get up and feel tired still.
That's so interesting because I think I can't go to sleep, or I can't sleep as well because like I feel like my anxiety is higher, and when my anxiety is higher, it like keeps my mind awake, and then it like keeps my body awake.
I don't get anxious when I get burnt out.
Huh. And I would say I get burnt out when I'm most anxious.
I think mine is like,
And when I'm more burnt out, it leads to more anxiety. So it's like this cycle.
yeah. Wait, so like, okay, because anxiety is kind of interesting, like with getting burnt out. So, because when I feel most anxious, which is not very often, it's like there's a lot of things on my plate that I have to get done that I am like very tired. So I feel like I have no energy to get them done. And then also, like, I don't know how to get them done because my brain is just like, it's not focused. So therefore it's hard to order everything. So like, I feel anxiety with that. So like, would you say that you getting burnt out is you have all this stuff to do and you haven't set it in order, and so your anxiety is causing this burnout, and it's just a cycle?
That's definitely, that's for me, that's like a procrastination thing. Like if I procrastinate something, it makes me more stressed. And then that stress makes me want to procrastinate more because I don't want to deal with all the stress of the things I have to do.
Yeah.
So then I just keep pushing it off.
See, my burnout comes from like...
But that's not always where my burnout comes from.
But my burnout is mostly like, because I don't know the way my brain works. Like I have a pretty easy time, like not necessarily easy time, but like I can kind of order things and figure out where they should go and what places they should be. And so my anxiety is like lower. But like I get burnt out if I feel like what I'm doing is not beneficial. So like if I feel like something isn't helpful with my core values, like they don't align, I'm like, why am I doing this? And that's something I've really had to learn because like, okay, for example, I had like I've had taken certain classes where I'm like, this is pointless. I'm not going to use this in my life. And so it didn't align with my, like, I guess my core values, but it also did in a sense where it's like, okay, you have a requirement that you have to get done, that you should get done because you should be hardworking and you should do the right thing. And so like you should do this thing. And so it's like kind of like it's like contradicting like in your like soul. Yes. It's like this feels pointless, but then also it's good because I should do the right thing.
You have your values of like being on top of it and doing the right thing is pushing you to do it, but the thing that you're doing feels like it's purposeless.
Yeah.
And so then it leads to you feeling like, why am I even doing this?
So I get like confused.
I totally get that.
And then I'm like, I just get like, it drains my energy, so I get burnt out.
That's what I think senioritis is. Like, you know how they refer to senioritis as like the end of your schooling, you just like feel like you have like no energy left and you're just done with it. I think that's exactly what you're describing.
Yeah.
Like for example, like when I was in high school, I was pretty set on I'm going to go into trades. And so I didn't need any of like history or social studies or math or any of the other courses really, other than like construction classes. And so those classes I took, I loved because like this is going to help me in the trades. But all the other classes like history and other crap, I was like, I felt like there was no purpose for those classes. So I put the very bare minimum in. Like I only got the grade I needed to get to pass it so I could just like be done with it. Like for me, there was no purpose behind doing it. So I didn't have any motivation to do it. Which then left me like procrastinating and feeling stressed about it and all this stuff. Cause my values were that I should be working hard. And if I'm not, that means that I must be doing something wrong. And then that left me feeling like kind of crappy, but then it was also like the fight of there's no purpose. So, okay. I think I basically said what you just said.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But yeah, actually I guess I only had that with like really like one class. Because okay, this is one of the things that I've like noticed, like, okay, I try to find like the value in like what I'm doing because I'm gonna have to do it regardless, just based off the like principle that of like being hardworking and being honest. And so like what I do is like, I mean, I quite like history. I like science and I really like English and I really like math, but to be able to get like all my history done, like I'm like, okay, why is this important to me? Okay, so it's important to, well, one, to be honest and to actually get your classwork done.
Sure.
But then also history is incredibly important. Like you can learn so much about how to live your life if you just look back on how others lived their lives. You can,
Agreed.
Like right now I'm reading a book about Katie Luther. I just started it. I'm in the introduction. And it's Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King Jr., but Martin Luther of the Reformation, his wife. And you can read through her life and you can read about the mistakes that she made or the things that she did really well. And so that's a part of history. Like you could...
I didn't even know that he was married.
Me neither. I was like, I was looking at this.
Wasn't he like a Catholic priest at one point? Did he get married?
I don't know. I don't know that much about Martin Luther, but I'm learning. I'm learning because it's good to learn.
So I had like kind of an epiphany when you were saying that, because like I didn't do the homework in those classes like history, like we just said, because I felt like there was no purpose to it. Except when I became a senior in high school, I started to have a change of heart towards like, maybe I'm not going to go into the trades. I actually think God's calling me into like ministry. So with that idea in mind, my purpose changed. It was like, actually the purpose of these classes are going to help me with my future college degree of getting like my master's of divinity, because that's kind of where I started to shift. I wasn't going to trades anymore, and because of that my purpose shifted too, and therefore I started to care more about my grades. I started to care more about learning stuff in those classes, and therefore I was able to apply myself more. I found myself procrastinating less with those classes, and I found myself getting like better grades because I found purpose in it. Yeah. And so I think like for me, when maybe purpose is a big part, because if you don't know the purpose of something, we tend to like try to avoid the thing.
Because we'll take the easiest path as possible.
Exactly. If there's no purpose in it. That being said, I feel like our emotions can be the same way. Like if I am experiencing anxiety or depression, anger, even feelings of burnout where I'm just like wearing my fingers to the bone and I feel very tired right now. It might feel like these moments, these really hard things that are causing me to feel this way, don't have purpose. But when I reframe it and think, okay, actually the thing that I'm going through right now, the trial that I'm going through, like I had a very difficult situation at work I was telling you guys about earlier that I felt kind of led me to feeling burnout. I'm able to like look at the situation and reframe it and say, you know what? It feels like there's no purpose in this frustration that's being caused by this situation, but I'm actually through this situation that's causing me all these difficult emotions is actually teaching me a lot. And there's purpose to this. And realizing that there's purpose in my struggle gives me more motivation to push through because it's not for nothing. There's purpose in my pain. And so I was able to like push through. And I'm still pushing through right now and I'm learning and I feel like I'm resting right now. I'm like kind of in like the triage moment right now of like still healing a little bit from that hard situation.
Yeah.
So.
And that's with any emotion ever, you know, we go through ebbs and flows. And it's just learning how to function with that burden, which is hard, but I think people are capable of doing it, or I know.
One thing that I work with people a lot on is like looking at, okay, so you said when you feel like you're like burnt out or getting, worn thin, you will sleep more. And I wonder if that's like for you, like kind of like an avoidance thing, like you're kind of maybe avoiding your life problems by like, oh, if I sleep, I don't have to think about this stuff.
Yep. And
that's something that we do a lot is like when we are struggling to push through difficult moments, we might, for me, like I watch more TV shows or I'm on my phone more. I'm trying to like distract myself from my real life because I don't know how to deal with it. And so it's easier for me to just not deal with it. Which actually can lead to feeling more burnt out because I'm not dealing with the issue at hand. I'm just avoiding the issue at hand. The issue is not being resolved. I'm just avoiding the issue. But if we can like reframe, and sometimes we want to escape in lots of different ways. We want to escape by sleeping or watching TV shows, or maybe we go to drugs, or maybe we go to alcohol, or maybe we even start having thoughts of like self-harming or suicide or these types of things. It's like we want to get out of the situation we're in because we don't feel like there's any purpose for the pain that we're experiencing. Something I work with a lot of people on with my clients is reframing the difficult situation in my head of, right now, it doesn't feel like there's purpose, but what if there's a really big purpose to this? And the purpose is just helping you grow as a human, becoming stronger, becoming wiser, becoming more resilient and more strong through the difficult situation. That for me helps me like realize the pain I'm going through has a purpose and it's not for nothing. And that makes me want to escape it less. Does that make sense?
There's I think I can relate to like everything that you just had said. And it reminds me of a verse that I kind of continue to meditate over. It's be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And there's also one where it's like, do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord will personally go ahead of you. I don't remember where they are at, but knowing that we walk in victory and not defeat, even when things are hard and we can't see the path forward, that God is a light to our feet and a lamp unto our path. And so I think constantly remembering that even though we go through these trials and temptations, or these trials and tribulations, that we want to make sure that we're continuing to push forward and walk by faith, because we know that we should be mature and complete and not lacking in anything. And so as hard as it is, we know heaven is in heaven and heaven is not on earth. So we're going to be uncomfortable and things are not going to go well. And no matter, what little tips and tricks that you have, you're still going to be uncomfortable, because again, like, we're not made to stay here for eternity. So,
but that discomfort that we experience in our difficult situations, the Bible tells us that God uses that for our good. Romans 8:28, God uses all things good for those who love him and who have been called according to his purposes. Or like James chapter 1, verses 2. This is the verse I was thinking of. It says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all who find... I lost my spot.
Without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all that they do.
So, that verse is like, to me, the first time I read it, I love it too. It was like, brought me encouragement the first time I read it, but it also brought me like confusion, because he's saying, consider it pure joy. Like when something's pure, it's like, it's
fully.
Not, it's full. There's no impurities in it. So you should be like completely joyful, which like, I don't even know how to do that, to be honest with you. But he says, be completely joyful when you experience hardship, which is like counterintuitive to me. Like when I go through hard stuff, I'm supposed to be joyful? Why? Well, there's another verse that kind of helps me come to conclusion that is the right answer. It's 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 3-7. He says, praise be to God the Father and of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all of our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. For just as we share abundantly in the sufferings of Christ, so also our comfort abounds through Christ. If we are distressed, it is for your comfort and salvation. If you're comforted, it's for your comfort, which produces in you patient endurance of the same sufferings you suffer. Our hope is firm and our hope for you is firm, because we know that just as you share in our suffering, so also you share in our comfort. That's a lot of share and comfort words, but the point that I get from this is that God will use our trials, our difficulties, as ways to show us that we can also help other people in their difficulties too. And not only do we share in the sufferings of Christ, which Jesus said would happen, but we also are comforted through Christ in the same breath. So though I'm suffering, I'm comforted, and therefore I can comfort other people. So my situation at work is very difficult and very hard for me, and it took me like 3 weeks to work through this, and I'm still working through it currently. But I know that this moment in my life right now is shaping me to help somebody else go through a similar circumstance.
Yeah.
And I think...
Is that helping you with your anxiety and your burnout?
It is. Like, that's the beautiful thing, is that, like I said, yes, it is. My burnout was brought upon, my feelings of burnout was brought upon because of this difficult situation that I'm going through. But knowing that there's a purpose behind it helps me ultimately with my burnout.
Mm-hmm. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this episode. We hope that it helped you have a different perspective, or maybe broadened your perspective about serving others and your relationship with burnout. So at Journey Coaching, we love relationships and we want to get people connected. So you guys can grab a workbook and go hang out with a friend, just sit down for a coffee and just chat and get connected and talk about these things, because they're so important, because you guys are important. So thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. Tune in next time and make sure you like and subscribe. Visit us at journeycoaching.org and check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Start your own journey at journeycoaching.org.
Your life, your journey starts now.